Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good day. I hope all of you can still have a positive mood to follow my lesson of this teaching and learning session. So today we're going to enter a new subtopic that is 4.3, the menstrual cycle. After we have learned about the human reproductive system, that will include also the physical changes that occur when a human reach puberty. In this subtopic 4.3, the menstrual cycle, we will learn about the menstrual cycle and the sequence of changes in the uterus lining during menstruation. Second, relate the fertile phase of the menstrual cycle to the process of fertilization and justify the importance of personal hygiene during menstruation. So this is the three learning objectives that should be achieved and understand during this lesson. Do you still remember in lesson 4.2 we have discussed about the physical changes that occur to a girl when they reach puberty? They will undergo a flow out of blood through their vagina. This flow out of blood or the discharge of blood through the vagina is called menstruation. This menstruation is one of the process in what we call, in the whole process we call it as the menstrual cycle. So menstruation is one part or one phase that occur in the menstrual cycle. So this menstrual cycle that occur in a girl that reach puberty will have a period about 28 days. So in 28 days, this menstrual cycle, we have several series of changes that involve the uterine wall, ovaries, and the formation and also the release of ovum. So these changes, this series of changes that occur in a girl when they reach puberty, we call it as the menstrual cycle. And this menstrual cycle is controlled by the brain and endocrine system, which secretes hormone. So this hormone will regulate the process of menstrual cycle. So normally, as I have said before, menstrual cycle will last for 28 days and it differs for each individual. There are various factors that affect the menstrual cycle, such as nutrient intake, abrupt change in body weight, emotional changes, and mental pressure. So this menstrual cycle can be divided into 4 phases, as we can see from this diagram. The first phase is menstruation phase that take about 5 days. So the first day of menstruation phase is the discharge of blood until the 5th day. After that is a repair phase, the second phase. Third phase is fertile phase that will start from day 12 until day 17. And the fourth phase is premenstrual phase, start from 18th to 28th, day 28. So after that, it will go into the next menstrual cycle. So you must remember that in the menstrual cycle divided into 4 phases, and every phases have their own process that will be explained later. and we will have to remember what is exactly happened for each of the phase during this menstrual cycle. For your information, the menstruation of a female will stop when she reaches menopause, which is around 48 to 55 years old. Means that a woman will have a menopause, mean that the menstrual cycle will stop around this age. Now we will look into more detail about what exactly happened during every phase. So for the first phase, that is menstruation phase, what is exactly happened is, so from this diagram, we can see this is the uterine wall. So this uterine wall consists of lot of blood capillaries. So this blood capillary is thickening right now. So when menstruation phase occur, so all this uterine lining will breaks down and discharge flow through the vagina. So all this one uterine lining that consists of blood vessels, they will break down, and we call this as a menstruation. So the first day of the discharge of blood together with unfertilized ovum and mucus, we call it as the menstruation phase. So this is exactly happen during the menstruation phase that will start from the day 1 and will finish at day 5. So maybe at the day 5, the menstruation or the blood flow will decrease slightly and no more blood is flow out from the vagina. So after the blood flow is finished, so it will enter into the second phase, that is repair phase, that will take about 6 days. So what exactly happened during repair phase? Uterine lining start to rebuild and thicken. So if we coming back into the first phase, in the first phase, all the uterine lining will break down. So after the second phase, so after the first phase, enter into the second phase during the repair phase. So all these blood vessel that cover up the uterine lining will start to rebuild and thicken. So blood vessel in this uterine lining are formed and ready to receive the implantation of fertilized ovum. So you can see from this diagram, so we have 3 parts of uterine wall here. So this part will start to rebuild and thicken. So please remember, this uterine wall is consists of blood vessels. After the day 11, the menstrual cycle will go to the next third phase, that is fertile phase, that will take about 5 days from day 12 to day 17. So what is exactly happened during this fertile phase and why this phase is called fertile phase? Because at this phase, ovum is released from the ovary on 14th day of the menstrual cycle. And the process of releasing an ovum, a matured ovum, we call it as a ovulation. So this ovulation process is a process of release of ovum from the ovary on 14th day. So at the same time, the uterine lining continues to thicken, and if there is a existence of sperm, fertilization will likely to occur. So during this phase, this is the very important phase in which fertilization will occur, and when a woman have this fertilization occur, means that after this the woman will have a next process to having a baby. Next is when day 17 finish, so it will go to the next fourth phase. We call it as a premenstrual phase. So this occur start from day 18 until day 28. So what is exactly happen? The uterine lining continues to thicken and becomes richly supplied with blood vessels. Implantation of an embryo is ready if fertilization occurs. The menstrual cycle will repeat if fertilization does not occur. So during this phase, premenstrual phase, if fertilization is occur, so this phase will continue to build up and make the uterine lining become more thickened. And after this phase, if the fertilization occur, so no more menstrual cycle for the next after 28 days. But if the ovum is not fertilized, mean no fertilization occur, so this phase, premenstrual phase, will go to the next menstrual cycle for the new menstrual cycle. So after 28 days, after this phase, the new menstrual cycle will start with the menstruation process. So from here we can see in a fertile phase, ovum is released. Okay, if the sperma exists here, so fertilization will occur, and then it will form zygote. So zygote will flow and will be attached to this uterine lining. That's why uterine lining will become more thickened. And then this fourth phase, that is premenstrual phase, you can see uterine lining continues to thicken, and if there is no fertilization occur, so after this premenstrual phase, it will start a new menstrual cycle. During menstruation process, a woman have to take care of their personal hygiene to make sure that they don't get infected by microorganisms like bacteria, virus, and fungi. Why we must take care ourselves and manage your personal hygiene during menstruation? Because the blood flow during the menstruations can be a place for the microorganism to growth and can infect your urinary system. So it will cause urinary tract infection. So when this happens, so you'll get an infection from a microorganism. That's why you have to take care or have to take several ways of practicing good personal hygiene during menstruation, and this is very important part during the menstrual process. So we can see from here what we should do during the menstruation process in order to take care of your personal hygiene. So the first one is a woman must change her sanitary pad 3 to 4 times a day to prevent the infection of bacteria and virus that might cause urinary tract infection. And the sanitary pad must be throw into the correct dustbin. Don't put it anywhere as you like, because this consists of blood that very dirty, so it can infect the others, for example. So please take care about this practicing, because to avoid from any infection for you and for the others. Next, for the second way, a menstruating woman is encouraged to bath frequently to clean her body. So during the menstruation, it is likely that a woman's body maybe have a smelly like odor. So to prevent the others from smell a bad thing from your body, so you have to make sure you have to bath frequently to make sure that your body is always clean. If a woman experience irregular menstruation, so they have to remind themselves that something wrong is happening in their body. So what is an irregular menstruation? Irregular menstruation, we refer to a condition where a woman does not experience menstruation every month, has too long or too short menstrual cycle. So what is the cause for this irregular menstruation? Is it can give a bad effect to the body of a woman? Before that, irregular menstruation might be caused by several factors such as an increase in body weight, hormone imbalance, emotional disruption, excessive exercise, and can also be caused by cervical tumor. So now, what is the effect of a body of woman when they have irregular menstruation? So from here we can see irregular menstruation can cause negative effect to a woman's health. Some of the negative effects of irregular menstruation to women are infertility. Number 2, having difficulties in family planning. And the third is health problems such as anemia. So these are 3 among the effects of irregular menstruation to a woman. So please make sure if you have this irregular menstruation as being stated before, so please go to the doctor to ask for an advice. So for example, the negative effect here, infertility. So what is the meaning of infertility? You cannot having a pregnant, means that your reproductive system will have a problem. Having difficulties in family planning, so this will cause a woman to have difficulties in determining her fertile day, and it is hard to plan a pregnancy. And this one can cause a long menstruation, can cause an excessive loss of blood, the body becomes weak, and the woman faint easily. So I hope all of you can understand what is the negative effect of women when they have irregular menstruation. So before we stop, as usual, I hope that you can do this note for this subtopic 4.3, and after that you have to answer this exercise, formative practice 4.3. Please answer all the 4 questions. Every question you must write the question, and below that question put your answer there. So that's all for this lesson. After this we will go into next subtopic, that is fertilization and pregnancy. Thank you.